We're back with game 2 now. They just kind of got started a bit too quickly there, so I've missed turn 1. Max is on the top of the screen this time. And he's got that clue so he can use a Spear of Industry to tap for mana. So he appears to be on some sort of the Mardu vehicles, but there's a heavy blue influence in the first game. We see here Lay Bare the Heart, which is the really bad duress effect. He can choose a non-legendary card. And he takes the Glory Bringer. So you can see Max there with an unlicensed disintegration, a Sky Sovereign console flagship, and in his third land. I'll keep that just up for a couple of turns. But Max is in the early aggressive position with the beatdown, so we'll see what recovery Felix has here, or if he's got Flaying Tendrils, for example, to bring in from the sideboard to clean this board up. Well, he's going to get a Doomfall, so that'll get rid of the unlicensed disintegration, which will enable Kalidas to come down next turn. So we can see there, Max just drew the Needle Spears for the turn. Felix gets rid of the disintegration. So it's a console flagship and a needle, his fourth land for Max. Max cracks the clue at the end of the turn. So the Needle Spears is offline again. Now the Needle Spears is back online thanks to Scrap Heap Scrounger. But again, Felix down to 11 here. Any sort of sweeper is going to be pretty bad for Max. We are just waiting for Felix. There's nothing to do here, so I'm guessing he's AFK. This is going to knock Felix to 11. He's going to take another 7 next turn, so he probably needs an answer now. If Flaying Tendrils came in from the sideboard, I think it would be very handy. If he doesn't have something, I think we're going to game 3. So see if there's a Kalitas even, because we know that Max does not have removal unless he's drawn it in the last turn. Okay, Gonti. Gonti will fly. I don't have the flagship up anymore, but I believe it only does 3 damage to either planeswalkers or players. I don't know if it does it to creatures. Because if Max can get the 5th land and play it here, if it does it to creatures, I think he's in big trouble. Felix is in big trouble. Is he going to trade here? Well, Max has got the 5th land, but it comes in tapped. Felix just considering if he wants to drop to 5 or if he wants to trade with one of them. He could potentially trade with the veteran motorist, because otherwise, yeah, he's going to trade. Otherwise, it's going to start crewing the flagship. And to follow up Heart of Quran. So the Heart of Quran is a crew 3, I believe, yes. So that can be... Well, main phase Anguish I'm making here, because he knows what the 5th final card in Max's deck is. He takes down the Scrounger so it can't crew the Heart of Quran. Actually, Max has got lethal on board. He just needs to fire up the needle spears. He's not going to do it. Felix has got 3 lands in hand, so possibly a fatal push would stop that plan. The flagship is a crew 3 as well. So I believe not even a... He's going to anguish on making 1. I think it would be... No, he's just going to wait and see which one gets crewed up. Max, one possible line here is just to fire up the needle spears, but yeah, he's going to do that. Felix does have the Shumling vent back as a blocker. Needle spears by itself is lethal, so he could offer it as a trade for the Anguished Unmaking, which would put Felix down to 1. He's not going to do it. He's going to... So the Anguished Unmaking will take the Heart of Quran, putting Felix to 1. In it comes. Oh, he's got a fatal push. Okay, so we know he's got a fatal push and an Anguished Unmaking now. Anguished is going to be tough because of Felix's life total, but if he wanted to here, he could fire up the Shumling Vent and get in. But I think, yeah, it's wise just to keep that back, to stop the Thraben Inspector. 1 card left in Max's hand. Oh, what's he doing? He pulls back. I think the fact that he pulled back kind of telegraphs the fact that last card is not a removal spell. Felix is dangerous here. He's going to draw 2 and pay 2 life. So now we know that Anguish Unmaking in his hand cannot be played. Unless he wants to fire up the Shambling Vent here. He does not. So passes the turn. Anguish Unmaking cannot be played. So he needs something else to take down that Skyship. This time a swing with the Thraben Inspector. This is risky. I actually think Max, in that position, he could have fired up the Needle Spears and used the Spears and the Thraben Inspector to crew the flagship. The flagship has flying, and I don't believe Felix would have any instant speed removal that could take down a 5-powered creature. Or in this case, a 5-powered boat. Well, here's a Blessed Alliance. That would do the trick. And it's going to gain him some life. So that could be a crucial turn. Now he can't crew the flagship now. He's already lost 2 Scrap Heap Scroungers. Although 1 Scrounger... Oh no, he's only lost 1 Scrounger. So we're going to get a look at that last card in his hand here with another Lay-Bare the Heart. Let's see what he's got going on. It's a Fatal Push. Okay, so the Shambling Vent can't be fired up previously, that's why, but he could have got in and then... And it only draws a blank, a land, and passes. Max says, welcome to the waiting game. Who's going to find something first? Felix with 3 cards in hand, but we know one of them is an Anguished Unmaking that would do 3 damage, which he can take at the moment. The flagship can't get in by itself because... Oh, it's a Glorybringer. This Glorybringer was what was stolen with Gonti. Glorybringer's going to get in for 4 here. There's nothing to exert. No, he's not going to use it to attack. An Authority of the Consoles. That's an interesting sideboard card to come in. The Sky Sovereign, that means it cannot be crewed by a creature coming in. But also, oh, Unlicensed Disintegration from Max. And he has, now wait, yeah, the Anguish I'm making is basically free here. You can Anguish that Sky Sovereign, because either way he's taking 3 life, but at least he gets something off the battlefield for it. So Felix with 2, he's down to 3, with 2 cards in hand. Max could have fired the Needle Spires just to test him because the Blighted Fen was down. Oh, this is good. Well, Sorin can go to the face to gain him some life here. Or is he going to plus him? He's going to plus him to get a card. And it's a Blessed Alliance, so that's going to cover him as well against any potential attacks. So he's just finding the answers now. Scrap Heap Scrounger from Max. And it's going to gain him some Felix some life through the console. But no cards in hand for Max, so the Grim Nemesis is going to keep ticking up. And reveals a Sorin. I think Felix might be able to steal this one. And plays a Kalidas. Max has got no cards in hand. I don't see him coming back from this. Grasp of Darkness is going to exile the Scrounger and make a zombie from Kalidas. I think this one's over. Incredibly, Felix has pulled it out. And Sorin's at such a level now that and there's a concession there from Max, so Felix takes standard 2 games to 0.